What is up, guys? Another video. Just had the bike running. Oil on the floor, lots of it. So I don't have a oil restrictor in the feed line for the turbo. No, I guess that was a little bit of an afterthought with just trying to get it ready. So let's get that sorted. I'm gonna dug out like spare bits and pieces. So that'll be for the gauge itself, the oil pressure gauge. There's a little filter, whether or not I use it's a different story. Got this bad boy up here. Had this floating around for a while, so we'll chuck this in where the old fuel pressure regulator gauge was. Get this crap off here too. Down here we got some more bits and pieces. Just trying to figure out how to do this with the parts that I already have. Yeah. So pressure sender. Let's go. Oil pressure sender, so that gives the signal to the oil pressure gauge, tells you how much pressure you've got. We've got a couple of extra lines floating around here. I'm hoping that this little guy here is actually going to fit in the turbo. That would be fantastic. So this is the dash 4. That is a something, not entirely sure, but it's got like a 0.8, like a 1 mil or a 0.8 restrictor already in it. So if this happens to feed and like sit in there nice in the turbo, that's perfect. I'll just run like a AN4 line down the side and around and up and try and get that to fit. If not, I might, given that these are stainless, I might just weld it together on one of these and kind of just like that, and that might do it as well. So yeah, I'm going to get this fitting off the turbo. Hopefully not just pour all this motor oil all over the floor, but I got more oil for it actually, so yeah, probably not a bad idea to change it. Yeah, let's get into it. This is like the 4th or 5th time I've had to stand up and get a different spanner. But, oh yeah, let's get you out of there. Yes, oil. Oh, there it comes. I guess this is better than not having any oil at all in the system. Alright. Oh, no restrictor. That is a chunky thread, which means that's not going to fit this little guy. Oh yeah, look at the thread difference. Dude, that's macking. So that's a no. That will not work, but I think this is stainless as well, so I might just actually whack some weld. I might just TIG that up, chuck a 1 mil drill bit through there and fucking call it. There's my restrictor. Boys, we got one shot at this. One 1 mil bit. Well, that did not work. Pretty close though, like ridiculously close. Like not even a mil out from finishing the hole, and no good, cooked. Anyway, second option, we'll just weld this. 2 different threads, but a little bit of a squeeze together here. Send it home. Give her the old Tigaroo. She should be good. Now this is the one that has the 1 mil hole restrictor in it, but it doesn't fit into the actual turbo itself. So let's do a bit of this, tighten it down nice and tight. Get it nice and close, fill that gap. Nothing like some good cross threading. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, come on. Alright. Chuck some weld in there, we good, we sorted. Okay Google, play. Okay Google, next song. Been a quick minute. Going back and forward, looking at different kind of scenarios, different methods of mounting all this kind of crap together. So this is what I came up with anyway. Comes off the oil pump, like that's direct off the oil pump. Goes down, runs down here, and then there's the connector where we ran the restrictor, so that's restricted there, and run up to the turbo. So the issue, luckily actually I had another one of those because I kind of drilled that other one like you saw and gone down, fucked it up. And drilling out a drill bit is, yeah, it's a nightmare, especially if you want your hole to be straight. So yeah, that's bloody lucky. Anyway, I don't have a fitting suitable for this, so I'm gonna have to get a male female with a female AN6 fitting, just so I can run an extra hose for this for the oil pressure gauge. But other than that, I'm gonna give it a quick wipe down, get all the oil and crap off most of it, start her up and see if we still have oiling issues. Well, okay, so there is quite obviously a drip. That's sealed where I've welded it, but just behind it, obviously that hasn't sealed up, so I'm gonna have to whip that off and maybe see if I can. I'm presuming this thing probably just moves back and forward in it. Yeah, it does too. So I'm wondering if I can weld that sleeve on there, or take this fitting off, weld it to this adapter up here. Because I dare say, oh, this one here, I dare say that's a possibility too. So we'll whip it off and kind of see what the deal is. But thought I kind of screwed something up on the bike, but it turns out I just didn't have enough fuel in there. So you can't run this bike low at all just because of the sheer size of the fuel system and the fact that it's a return start now as well. It just aerates the fuel. You can hear it in the pump. The pump starts having a good whinge, aerates that, and yeah, no one's happy. Right, so yeah, it looks like that's not actually like a seal anymore when it's like this. So if we have a look at this end, when it is bolted down tight to something, there's also like a tapered fitting on the inside, and it kind of, there you go, that kind of seats on the inside of whatever it's been bolted to. So I'm thinking, because this fitting didn't actually technically fit and I just threaded it in, it didn't bottom out and it hasn't sealed against it, so all of that oil is kind of just dumping out of there. You can see underneath it even, just dumping out of there. So I'll try weld it and then make that solid, but the other end spins and everything, so it should still work quite fine. So yeah, I might I'm not sure if this will handle the heat being welded all the way down there though. I might wrap a wet towel around the base of this just to try and get some of the heat out of it, and yeah, chuck some weld around and see if that does it. Bike has some bark for sure. Like at idle, it's no louder than like a straight piped Harley. Like it's a little bit loud at idle, but once it calms down and comes up to temperature and the idle drops, and it's not too bad. But as soon as you twist that throttle, it barks, like you feel it in your chest, and yeah, it's a little bit loud. Well, answer to that is no. Alright boys, so she is back together. All the fairings and everything on. Woo, mostly on. The mirrors and everything wired up now too. The wires are kind of just chill banging in there at the moment. A few more screws to put in, and yeah, I think I'm just down to all the small things now. So took it for a quick splat around the block. Done alright, made a good 2 psi of boost, but I realised that my O2s are still loose from when I cleaned them, so better get those done. And that's loose as well, but didn't seem to cause any issue riding. Do need to work out this overflow bottle thing. You can see it just drips once she gets a bit hot, starts expanding, but no overheating whatsoever. It's on 3 bars without a fan. Well, this doesn't actually have a fan on it yet because, well, can't fucking fit it, can you? So I need to work that out. I might just use a couple of small 12-volt computer fans, you know, little square jobbies, chuck those in there. Blow-off valve works, and it works really well. Don't ask me how I know, because I wasn't meant to be in boost, but you know. And yeah, a few other things I need to sort out is idle. That's probably the hardest thing, because I got to get in down here to the carb, or to the throttle body, sorry. Need to lower the idle because it's sitting at like 3 grand, so it's loud as all shit. Need to drop the fuel pressure back down to maybe about 50. It sits at 60 at the moment, which is a bit much. You can see it in the exhaust, a little bit of oil and a lot of fuel coming out. Drain, oil lines, everything seem alright. And she's been ridden around and she's not dripping as much oil now, which is brilliant. I think it's just all excess from when that seal was shot, so that's all good. I do need to get a P clamp onto that oil feed line now. Yeah, and then I think that's it. That's her running. So once I've dealt with these small issues as well, I'm going to get back into installing this FXCK. So at the moment it is plugged in, but it's not currently running anything on the bike. It's basically just sitting there, plugging a hole. We made 2 psi of boost, and I was watching the AFRs, and the AFRs with the rising rate fuel pressure rig at 60 psi. Rising rate obviously, so that bumped up. They were actually really good, surprisingly. But yeah, once these small issues are fixed, especially that idle thing, trying to leave the lights with rattling O2s, it'd kind of bog a little bit and then it would kick off and get a bit more fuel and then bog a little bit, and then holding at 3000 RPM and it would catch the clutch, and pain in the ass. So yeah, we'll get back into that, get that sorted today, and maybe go for another ride. in my ass number 2. Okay, so lifting the tank, you can see the fuel, which is usually the fuel feed dripping there. That's actually usually the feed to your injectors, and for me it is my fuel return. The feed is from that AN fitting there. You can see the plastic, the one thing I haven't modified on this bike, broke. So obviously it didn't like the vibration from that ride, and it's cracked a little bit. And then trying to lift the tank, it's actually split, and notice a little bit of fuel on the inside there. So yeah, I'll pull the tank off and pull that plate off. So I've had this problem before with this braking. The old one broke. It was just fragile, and one day it started leaking, pretty much exactly the same. So this just started leaking. Tried using some plastic weld and re-welding that, but too much vibration and stuff, it just won't hold, so I do not suggest it at all. And the first time I took this off, someone had already replaced the fuel pump. When they had done that, this rubber gasket that goes on the underside of this ring was in fact on top of the ring and screwed down. So as you can see, it never sealed. So for the first bit, probably 2 months that I had the bike, it always smelled quite fuely, but it was summer, so you know, you do get like a quick whiff every now and then of the fuel as the vapors and stuff are escaping the tank. Thought it was normal until yeah, the leak, and I had to change all this, and yeah, no good. So that's the first time I let go, and now obviously it's let go again. But I do have a solution. I don't want to weld I don't want to make an aluminium bottom plate. I want to make it out of stainless because I've already got it, and it's already thick enough, and it's not going to warp as much as the alloy. So I've got the plate there. I think it's about 1 mil thick. I'm going to make a plate out of that. And obviously you can't weld these aluminium fittings to a stainless plate. I could go get another one of these bulkhead fittings here. It's got like a Teflon washer both sides, but even this one makes me kind of uncomfortable. I'm not a big fan of them, especially on a V-twin, just because like the V-twin obviously vibrates a lot, like a heck of a lot. And it's just something else to fail. I've had these little Teflon things let go before as well, and they start leaking and all that, especially when you've got a constant fluid sitting above it. Used them on oil pans and stuff before, and it's just leaked oil over time. It's been fine. I mean, it got me to where I am with the bike now, so I am grateful that it worked for then, until now, sorry. Yeah. What I'm going to do, I've got a couple of these. These are AN6 to a 3/8 barb fitting, so I'm going to cut those off. These are made of stainless, which is fantastic. I think they're actually for converting your water lines on your turbo to a hose kind of deal. I don't use them. I'm going to cut them off, stainless to stainless, going to weld them up, bit of Tigaroo, and chuck probably like a 45 on the bike itself to kind of realign that, and boom, done. Bob's your uncle. We have fuel again. This time a lot safer as well. This being quite thick, bloody good stuff, and yeah. But for now, that's probably it for this video. It's probably getting a bit long. Depending if I turn the GoPro on or not, I was in a bit of a rush to just kind of trial the bike and ride it. I'll see if I get any footage, and I'll chuck that in after this. So yeah, like, comment, subscribe. Thanks for watching. On the next one, I promise you, we'll do first ride video. Alright, have a good one.